All right, welcome to the post-match analysis. Pretty much the same folks who've been on for the YouTube live, right? I mean, we've decided that there's a lot of tension with technology, so we've decided to record this and then probably upload it to YouTube later. All right, so I see Kirti on with the video. Rest of the folks have with the video off. So yeah, your first thoughts on the match.
Good match compared to all the previous matches. I think from a defense perspective, as the commentators was mentioning, I think Holding did a good job of clearing all the balls that came in from a cross perspective. And I think Southampton didn't do enough from my perspective. They were subpar to their levels, or we were better at defending. So I don't know which one to take from that perspective, but happy that we won, and that's all at the end of the day that matters.
Very true. Who wants to go next? I mean, Vivek, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So nothing like the game I thought it would be. I thought Southampton would hurt us more in the air and in set pieces, but we were pretty good at defending set pieces. I think towards the end, the commentator did mention that Holding has been a big presence there. So maybe that played into it, and also credit to Martinez. Every time a ball came in, he was there. He was claiming it. Quite surprised. Didn't know that Martinez would be as assured a goalkeeper. It's a win, not out of flair and not really out of some beautiful football, but it's a gritty win. And we said at the start, right? Hey, we take any kind of win. Someone said, if you're winning by a handball, then so be it. We got the 3 points. End of the day, it's a bit sad that Aubameyang couldn't get his goal. I thought he was fantastic right throughout. Basically, Aubameyang and Saka. Holding also, I'd say, had a good game. All in all, happy we got the 3 points, but we need a kick on from you.
Yeah, but do you think it's because Southampton played really poorly, right? I mean, Martinez didn't have to do a lot. I think Elroy could take this. I mean, do you think it's because we played better or because our opponents were
I,
not up?
yeah, Southampton. See, if you saw the game, Southampton were pressing quite a lot. Like you could see that we were trying to play out from the back, and Southampton were continuously pressing. But that is the most they did. They didn't threaten us other than that. So in that way, you can say that we coped up well with the pressure. We didn't. I mean, there were quite a lot of missed passes and all, but it's like we went out to do the job and we just got it done, which is good enough at this point of time. And special mention that Hale and FC today, both the youngsters scoring coming from the academy, and that is a very, very good sign. Hopefully, we can go ahead with building this team from here. This is definitely not going to be like how to say. We are definitely going to get more speed bumps on the way, but it's a positive way to restart the season. So let's see.
Yeah, fair point. Ankur, you're happy that Gundozi is not there? I mean, he's not there in the squad itself, right, today? So happy not seeing him.
It's not that I have a personal hate towards Gundozi, but as long as the team wins, I am okay with it. I'll just add one more point that Vivek, thanks for jinxing the Martinez thing by mentioning that he has been quite surprisingly well. Would like to know your thoughts about Martinez for the next game. Yeah, so I think I'll agree to most of it what the other guys said. Uh, Now I think in a situation which we were after the last two games, a win was what we needed. That's all. Few of the players had a good game, especially Holding had a very good game. Martinez had a good game. Saka had a very good game. Aubameyang had a good game. Pepe had a very poor game. Pepe is something I need to look at. I mean, we have to look into what's actually happening with Pepe. Ozil not playing again. Ozil not playing always is the question. But as I think Vivek mentioned in our pre-match discussion that because of what he became a father and he was not quite ready yet. So let's see. Few question marks still on the performances, but as long as we got the 3 points, so yeah, happy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? We want to see us win. I mean, I wouldn't have minded even if the referee hit the ball into their post, right? So I just wanted a win in any weird way. So yeah, Austin became a father. I think he's looking at new professions, right? Like how to utilize the umbrella during a match day. It's hot in UK. It's pretty hot these days, but uh, I mean, uh, I'm
Expect
sure
the
people.
social media post with the umbrella.
Yes,
No, something
exactly, right?
I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
add
please,
on
please.
was if you guys look up Lacazette's pose was like a paint me like a French
Oh
lady
yeah.
pose with the umbrella. That looked even better. So if you guys can have a look at that, that's best that came out of the whole suspense today.
I mean, even if he doesn't play, he gives something, right, for all of us to talk for the next few games. I mean, we said this. Out of those five substitutions, I think Arteta used just four, right? Um, we should be seeing Ozil play, right? I mean, at least, I mean, it's sad. I mean, the situation is really bad. I do not want to take away a good win to go to Ozil talk because I think every podcast, every talk ends up with Ozil. I think we need to look forward, right? So, what's the positives from this game for everyone for our next game? What positives do you guys see?
See, positives is
I would.
there is a kind. Okay, so the type that we're playing right now it seems like we're playing three at the back with the left back actually staying back and not going forward. With Saka actually playing as a wing back come winger, letting Oba coming in and acting as that striker come left wing. I think that is something that is actually giving us the stability at the back to make sure that we might not concede. It's something that I think Arteta brought in and started doing from the start itself. I think it will take some time for everyone to know where to stay and where to be. And if you look at it, having those three at the back lets allows Bellerin to run much further ahead and still not feel the risk of getting countered badly because you still have three guys at the back. Shaka used to do that in some of the matches where Shaka used to become the third centre back by moving back. I think that's something that he's trying to do from a stability perspective. It's going to take time because if you look at all the teams that are doing well with regards to Pool and City and all, right, their difference didn't grow within 2 or 3 months or even 6 months for that sake. It grew over a couple of seasons with one or two good additions that they ended up getting and actually solidifying it. I think that's what we need to look for, and that's what I see as a positive. Most of the parts of it, we have been scoring goals. Might not be like 3, 4, and all, but at least one or two, and get into positions where we might seem like winning. But it's been the unfortunate situations where the ball just bounces into the opposition's player when we try to defend it, or getting off the post and going to them. So I think those things will overturn. But I think I see positives with regards to us getting defensively better under Arteta.
Yeah. So to just add on to what Keithy said, if you go to see, the Arteta has tweaked this a bit, probably because of the personnel that he has had. See, when Arteta started uh, being the manager, he used to play Saka as a left back who used to overlap a lot. And when Saka used to do that, Shaka would be like the third back. He used to cover that left side area. Now with Tierney coming, with having a proper left back into the picture, that person takes the actual role of the left back, left centre back kind of, and Saka is given that freedom. And what we noticed with this was that Xhaka got more freedom in the center, and he was putting in a lot of passes, which you could see Xhaka's importance today compared to the last two matches, which the central mid were not doing enough. So that for me was a tweak, probably because we have had the right players right now, and it's a style that I see Arteta using it quite a lot in the future. So that for me to have this particular style was quite positive. And overall for me, a lot of people will say Aubameyang, but Saka was brilliant today, right from defending to taking the ball up front. The energy that he had all through the game was fantastic. For me, he would be the man of the match purely because he had a brilliant performance overall.
Very true. Very, very, very true.
Saka would be the man of the match for me as well. Just to add in one point here after listening to Elroy, yeah, lots of positives, and especially before the FA Cup game. I mean, currently looking at our situation, FA Cup remains as the only last positive. Probably if we can have a good run, and I think we discussed this in one of the podcasts as well, where most of us were expecting or are still expecting us to do quite well in the FA Cup, at least go to the finals or something. So yeah, as of now, looking at the current situation, FA Cup stands as our most important tournament, and having a getting a win before a FA Cup is good, I guess. And let's hope for the best because Sheffield wouldn't be easy.
So, yeah, so this theory I want to bring up, okay? We are trying our best not to be in Europa. So, would we want to win FA Cup and then get back into Europa again? So, do you see us actually challenging in FA Cup, or maybe try and nick in till the semi-final, have a little bit of fun for the fans, and then lose out to the big teams? I mean, it's just a theory that I brought up, right? So, but in all honesty, right, I don't think we really want to get into Europe, the way how they are playing, and I think we've spoken about it. Maybe a season without Europe might help us next season and get the new players adjusted to the team. So I'm not very hopeful about FA Cup. It's great if we can win it, nothing like it, but it's just another tournament which we might not do well till the end. All right, what about Aubameyang's partner? I mean, except for that goal, do you think uh, he did great this game? Vivek, I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, for me, except for the goal, maybe a couple of runs, um, I don't know if he did a lot of justice for being part of the team from last few games, right?
Mm, yeah, it would be nice to know what else Arteta sees in Nketiah other than work rate. Work rate is something that you expect from any academic kid that's trying to break into the first team, right? So Lacazette could have. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but he could have pressed the same way. He could have possibly scored the same way. And in my opinion, at least, as soon as Lacazette came on, there was a difference in quality up front, be it
Exactly. E-
or the
Exactly. I mean, sorry,
yeah.
Vivek. So that's one point that I wanted to also bring up, right? I mean, he came on, he brought a change, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, everything is different. The way how we were attacking, the pace became different. The connection between Aubameyang and him, started to see on the pitch. Only person missing was the Ozil connection, but yeah, you could see that change. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. When was the last time Lacazette started an away game? Is it like an away and home game thing now? Is Lacazette just not going to play in away games? Is it because he wants us to press right from the front? But Lacazette, the last I remember, that is still we brought Nketiah back from loan. He used to run his socks off every single game from the time Arteta took over. In fact, he went down with cramps in several games because he ran himself into the ground. So it would be nice to probably get into Arteta's mind to see exactly what his game plan is with playing Nketiah and not Lacazette. I hope Lacazette starts against Sheffield. Um, I don't think we'll win the cup, but you never say never, right? In a cup, so let's go for it. Play your best number 9. Play Lacazette. Play Aubameyang. Nketiah, kudos. He got us an important goal, got us off the mark, but the difference in quality is quite obvious.
Just to add on a
Just
point here, Do you think that maybe that Arteta is just trying to build for the future, like getting Nketiah these games, getting him this proper first team experience for next season, considering the fact that both are strikers, there's a high chance of both of them leaving. That could be one of the thing, but yeah, because he
That
started quite a lot, and I mean I don't know, that's just speculation, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's a concern, right? If okay, it's fine if we have to sell both our first choice, that's okay. But if we are going to be depending on NKT and Martinelli, that's not done. We're going to be languishing in the same place
yeah,
that we are right now.
that's not good enough to lead the line. But yeah, but I think Nketiah is a good choice to have as a second striker. He's definitely provided us something different, and he's come from the academy, so we've not had to pay for him also. So that's a big.
I would say it's a good third and fourth. If he's going to be a second choice, that means we don't get top four.
Interesting point brought up by Vivek regarding the FA Cup. So, I mean, there's a question for all probably. Do you think that once the restart happened of the league, I mean, after the lockdown and all, do you think that Mikel and the team management had this in the mind from before that, post the lockdown or post the break? Let's consider FA Cup as the main tournament because we don't have any since we don't stand any chance in the Premier League, and hence probably the likes of Lacazette and Ozil and all are not being played and being saved because there are, I mean, we know there are matches in quick successions now. Like Thursday we are playing, then again Sunday, then again probably. Could it be one of the reasons?
No, so if you look at us concentrating on FA Cup, it means that we are looking at a mid-table team or a team that can't do anything by reaching top four or top six, right? You're losing your status of
No, I
being one
mean
of the top teams
realistically
in the
we
league.
don't have any chance also. I mean,
No,
as
but
such.
still, given the way that the whole everyone from fifth to tenth is playing around right now with the way they are playing, we still had a chance if we had gotten something from the first two games, right? I know I'm being optimistic with regards to that, but still, at that point, if you have to be hopeful with regards to that, and every team coming back from that perspective will have injuries, and that happened in the Bundesliga also, where a lot of other teams who started off ended up getting injuries left, right, center because people were not conditioned to play for so long. So you have to look from that perspective and do it. See, saving players for a particular tournament works if you are looking at it from a Europe perspective. From an FA Cup perspective, yes, it's one of the titles that we can win, but we will end up having all most of our players playing there. But all these guys are being paid enough to play at least twice a week over some period of time. So I don't see that being the only reason because that's one part of it getting saved. The other part of it is you need to have form to come in, right? You can't expect Ozil out of nowhere who hasn't kicked a ball in a competitive match to just come in and start threading all the through balls for our wingers to pick up and slice in. So that's the other point that you need to know, that you have playing in a competitive game is much different than practicing all these things without any opposition in the box and scoring during training, right?
True, true.
Yeah, the FA Cup is going to be interesting. I think that is where all our last hopes we're pretty much clinging on to it, right? Uh, whether it's hope that's going to continue after Sunday or not remains to be seen. But if we have to come back to this game, uh, after I think it's safe to say that this is the first time since Holding's return from injury that he's looked so self-assuring and so immense in our defense. Is it filling anyone else with some confidence and joy that okay, we may have uh, a centre back that can actually offer us something in the long run, provided he stays injury free, and he, by the way, was awarded the official man of the match. At least even I too, I think he was our best player, followed by Saka and then probably Oba. So yeah, on Holding, does it fill your hearts with some promise that he could be around for the next 4-5 years, second, third choice, whatever?
So, Vivek, it's a little tricky, right? I mean, it's my personal opinion. Um, our defenders are not bad, right? They just seem to look bad in specific games, right? When the opposition is really good, they turn our team into a bunch of fools looking to or trying to learn football, right, for the first time. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, these kind of games, you feel like everybody is having a top game, right? I mean, um, no problem with Mustafi and holding at the back with Martinez as keeper. I mean, at the end of the day, they are all professional players. They all know what they need to do. But that split second of choice making, right, when in those big games, the difference of choice making and the pace. I think a lot of time it's a pace that brings us down, because I think a lot of time these um teams that come up with a lot of pace just ease passes us in those split seconds, and we don't know what's happening, and then the goals go in. I mean, like Kirti was saying, right? I mean, after a long break, it's difficult to play. But look at Liverpool and City and all those teams. They've come back, and it's difficult, but they're coming back after 100 days, and they are hitting goals left, right, center. It's not like they're having trouble. So in some of these games, we build up that hope as a fan, and then the next big game we lose, and then our hopes just go down. I mean, I think Elroy wanted to add something.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that point. And it's always be the case. We as fans get very emotional and get carried away with that. With Holding, I think, a lot of people have taken it for granted. I mean, I'm saying, talking about the people who have criticized him, have taken the ACL for granted. It's a step-by-step procedure. Maybe he could get back to how he was the same, but it will take time. And let's see with Holding. I mean, till prior to this game, even I had not lost hopes, but it was not looking too good for him. But today he has really, as in today's match, he has done really well. I could, that's what the commentator said, and you could just make out he won almost every header that came in his way. And I personally never knew he was so good in the air. So these were good signs, but there's a lot more to see. So that's what, in a way, we have to take these remaining matches, at least in the Premier League, as a long pre-season for next season. So we will get to learn a lot about what Arteta, how he wants to set up, or how the players are going to be. These are basically like uh, going to be like friendly matches for us. Let's see what we find out more about these players.
So just to continue on to that, right? As a centre back, it's critical that you get enough time to play. Look at the number of chopping and changing that we had to do with regards to our centre back the whole season. No one got to understand, because half of the time, if one centre back calls telling that you have to run, you have to run. But look at it from a consistency perspective. We might be talking about everyone else, but someone who's been playing is Mustafi just before the COVID period, and we went on a long unbeaten run during that time. And I think only person who was consistent in the back four at that time was Mustafi. It comes down to the confidence that you end up building each and every time you play as a centre back. And Holding was brilliant before the injury that he took with Marcus Rashford running into him and kicking him off this one, right? Before that, he was consistently playing, and he actually was doing well. Things like that disrupt players the way they play, and maybe the centre back pairing as well. So something that is we know is there is potential with regards to what he can do. Now might be a good chance for him to push forward. Only worry is, as Arteta looked at, was mainly having a left footer playing as one of the centre backs to help him with the distribution. That's the reason why he got Pablo Mari in. Once Pablo Mari is back in, I think he's not here for the season at least. But once he's back in, maybe next season, he might be one of the starters for one of the centre backs. But the other position can be taken up by Holding itself, because he's been with us for quite a while and we know what he can do. Only thing is consistency. We just need to give him enough time. Even if he makes a couple of mistakes, it's okay. But shouldn't be mistakes like what David Lewis did, and put us at a point where we, if you remember the look that Kieran Tierney gave when Lewis made the mistake, right? That I felt that look that he gave. it actually is not that you get a tough opportunity.
I mean, we've been talking a lot about the game, right? So there's something that I noticed about today's game, the game plan, right? I mean, start of the game itself, you could see those long uh, passes, the long crosses that's been put in. I mean, it's amazing to see us showing something different. I don't know if it's something to do with Arteta finding some loopholes in how Southampton plays, but uh, it's great to see a change in playing style. Not just the boring side passes coming to the wing, trying to cross in. I mean, those crosses, the long crosses were amazing. So we could have been a couple of goals ahead in the first half itself.
They played the high line, right? Their defense completely played the high line and played from the back as well. When they were in position, their defenders were up closer to the half line. One of the balls that was the best balls was Martinez giving it to Oba, and Oba tried to cross it to Nketiah. That was the pass of the day. Only thing is, Oba could have taken a shot. Hindsight, he could have taken a shot and actually had a pop, but the defender ended up coming and clearing that out. But that was basically what I don't see a lot of big clubs doing that by having both the defenders up above the half line when a goal kick is being taken. But good thing that we noticed that, as you mentioned, good thing that we saw that and we actually tried to capitalize on it. But things like that in game planning, I think, is something that we need to adapt, and I think players also need to be shown that those things are vulnerable during the game, so that these guys change it and do it. We might not be seeing it, or there might be enough planning done with regards to each and every game. But on the day of the execution, multiple things happens. As Jomi, you said, split second, you don't know whether you're supposed to turn left or turn right, and that determines whether the game is won or lost as well.
I think that's a fantastic point that Johnny brought up, where you said that we went for the long passes, which was something really good. Because if you notice something under, I don't want to say, but yeah, under Emery, and it has been the case under Arteta also, because our players, especially our centre backs and our midfielders, are not very good at passing out from the back. And you see, Southampton's plan was that they were playing a high line and they were pressing high, as I said, but they couldn't do anything more than that. So we tried here and there to pass the ball from the back, but if it was not working, it was not possible. We just went long, we went direct, which is good. It's not like those, as Chomi mentioned, which is like we didn't waste our time with those unnecessary sideway passes and backward passes, which lead us to nowhere. And especially a defensive team, our team which is just pressing high, is more than happy to contain the defenders there and let the game go on, because they know that Arsenal will make a mistake going there. But no, today we went direct, and that was something which was really good for me. It's good to see us having another backup game plan, being adaptable to the situation rather than sticking to one game plan. And even if it's not working, we just go on with it, and we lose track of the game.
Cool. Ankur, any thoughts? Because I think we'll keep it short. Late in the night, it's 1 o'clock. I'm sure everybody wants to sleep right after.
I just have one more point.
Yeah,
Something that we see, that has been dropping is mainly our passing accuracy across for the past 2 years. We were known for having good passing stats and the way that we would pass forward and backward and sideways as well. Right now, we are at a point where we are lacking with regards to how much we can do and what we can do with our passing skills, and we're just trying to clear it out. Something that has to be improved upon. I think Arteta bringing in the whole style of what he might have picked up from Guardiola or from his olden days from Spain academy, I think has to kick in. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Might need a good centre back who can actually take the ball in and actually be calm and then pass it out properly. I think that's something that I see is still lacking, and it's been lacking for the past 1 year at least, ever since Wenger left. And I think that's something that will help us also as we start moving forward.
Yeah, I was about to tell the same thing only. And just to add in one more thing on the Elroy's point, I mean, see, passing out or giving out the long balls is not something new which we tried for this game, I guess. I mean, if I remember Emery's first season, we tried to do the same with Xhaka, where even if Xhaka in the odd games when he was playing as a centre back because of whatever reasons, or even if as a defensive midfielder or in the midfield, he was doing those long runs and for Oba and Laka. And same thing, I think even David Luiz was bought by Emery for one of those reasons only. I mean, he had mentioned about David Luiz in one of the press conferences as well. And we had seen David Luiz also trying the same. But my worry is with Oba playing on the wings, will the long ball, how much of it will be effective? That I'm not quite sure yet. If we are having a fast pace of Martinelli and Oba, then maybe. But if we are sticking to the long-term plan of, say, which looks like so, that Nketiah or Lacazette playing up front and Oba playing on the left side, I mean, I don't think I don't see it happening or clicking as of now. But if it works out in our favor, then it's great. And just to another question for Keerthi, I mean, probably for everyone, that since we're also discussing this, that we need to improve on this. By any chance, Saliba is also one of those defenders who gives out the long balls, or is he not?
See, that I wanted to talk about. The reason why I didn't bring him up is he's playing at a league which is not at the same pace as what you would look at from a Premier League perspective, right? The same amount of pressing that you would see and the same amount of quality that you see, right? It's not just an easy transition for you to come off of a league where you might be performing the best for you to just come into Premier League and start kicking just like that. He has the physical ability to actually hold and actually clear things out. Maybe haven't seen much of him, but when you try to get people off of other leagues like that, the person is not going to click immediately. Proper example is Nicolas Pepe, right? It took him time for us to get him to a place where he's actually cutting in and taking his shots. I thought he might start doing it from game 2 or game 3, but he took quite a while to do that. And every time he cuts in and shoots, it's a chance of us scoring goals. And the last game when he did that, I felt so happy that one of Arsenal players is doing that after maybe Sanchez used to do that from the left wing and cutting in and scoring from the other side of the corner. I think that part of him coming and settling down will take time, but I don't see it clicking immediately. That's why I would still look at Holding to continue as one of our starters with regards to centre back.
Hey, Vivek, any last thoughts before we close? So,
Yeah, yeah. So, I actually thought we'd all be a much more enthusiastic group. I thought we would be over the moon and we'd only be talking about the win. But it looks like we're all very level-headed people. We can see right through it. Uh, there is no mucking about. There's a long way for us to go. But for tonight, I think I'm just going to enjoy the win. And I don't think I'm going to sleep for the next few hours. City are playing well, so hopefully Chelsea lose some points. Liverpool don't win the league yet. And yeah, we will wait till Sunday then.
yeah. For some reason, right? I mean, it's very irritating with the Liverpool fans. I mean,
Oh my God.
I never thought of them like that. But I just realized that not winning a league in so many decades does bring in that change in fans, right? So, I mean, they were level-headed for so many years without winning it, but now that they're going to win,
Yeah,
they have become glory hunters at the end of the day. Yeah.
utterly.
All right, that's all then for today. Thanks everybody for taking time right after the match. It's very late for us, but thank you so much sharing your thoughts. Until the next match day, I'll talk to you guys later then. Bye bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye, guys. Come on, you guys. Come on.
Bye
Come
bye.
on.